Junior explorers, it's in their nature to use neurology and evocative language to get people excited.
They do say with neurology that the best place to find mineralisation is in the shadow of somebody's head frame. I think a famous US president said that.
Not a geologist. What knowledge do you have which says, do you know what, if we go beneath that, we could find something quite good? Welcome to Crux Investor. First of all, thanks so much for watching the video. If you like it, please give us a thumbs up. It'd be much appreciated. And if you could leave your comments below and tell us what you think of the company, the questions we're asking, how we're doing generally, that'd be much appreciated too. And if you haven't already done so, click the button in the corner of the screen to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And of course, for more videos like this, click the notification bell. We spoke earlier today to Colin, Locke, CEO of Krakatoa Resources. They're an ASX listed junior explorer. They're hunting copper and gold in Western Australia along the Lachlan gold belt. It's fairly early days, but we wanted to sort of see, what the plans were there. They believe that their property near Alkane Resources property could be highly prospective for what they're looking for. So take a look in the description below at some of the topics we discuss. Anything interests you in particular, you can click on the numbers, those timestamps, and that'll leap you straight to that part of the video. Anyway, enjoy what Colin has to say. Hey Colin, how are you doing, sir?
Hi Matt. Excellent, thanks.
Good. Well, thanks for coming on the show. You're going to talk to us about Krakatoa Resources. It's fairly early days, but it's always nice to sort of talk to the early exploration company. So why don't you, for people new to this story, which should be a lot of people over here, why don't you kick off and give us that 1 minute overview, and then I'll pick it up from there.
Now, Krakatoa is a small cap junior Australian explorer. It's listed on the Australian Stock Exchange under the symbol KTA. It's got a market cap, last time I looked, about 7 million Australian, so about under 5 million American, about 4.6 million American. We've got about 218,000 shares on issue, and the stock's trading at 3.5 cents. We recently acquired a TEM in the Lachlan Fold Belt in central New South Wales in Australia, which shares some pretty heavy-duty neighbours, and I'll be speaking more about that later. It's probably situated, it's exceptionally situated in not just in the prolific Lachlan Fold Belt. Now, the thing about the Lachlan Fold Belt, it deals in gold mainly, gold and copper porphyries. And it's probably arguably the world's major copper gold porphyry exploration destination for investors on the planet at the moment. Within that Lachlan Fold Belt, you have what's called the Molong Volcanic Belt, which is Ordovician rocks. And we are exceptionally located again. We're only 35 kilometres on that same narrow strip. The strip goes north-south to Cadia's, Newcrest Mining's Cadia, which is Australia's biggest and most lucrative gold mine.
Okay.
We acquired the proposition in late last year, and we've been going pretty heavy on the exploration since. Okay,
so thanks for the summary. Your news story, so I guess there's not a lot of data around, so I want to understand the process that you've been through and that you're going to go through. So what is it that you set out to do? What are you trying to build here? And what's the process that you're going to engage to, move along that path?
Sure. Well, since acquisition, late last year, we took out an option over it's about 80 square kilometres. That was in September. We got it granted, or we exercised the options in that option to acquire in December, and we are going for copper gold porphyry plays. And porphyries are renowned to exist in clusters. We are hell bent on trying to fast track, and we're steaming ahead on the road to discovery. We would like to get a discovery happening this calendar year, so we can really bring home some bacon for investors before Christmas if we can. So our main mission is a major discovery if we can. And just on that, there has been a discovery recently in that same belt in about September last year with a company called Alkane Resources, ALK. And the rewards to investors on a discovery, if we base it on Alkane's discovery, which was one drill hole, it added 200 million to their market cap. So approximately 130 million US dollars to their market cap with one hole.
Okay, but
same belt,
so
same strip.
Let's bring it back to you guys, because I think junior explorers, it's in their nature to use neurology and evocative language to get people excited. So let's bring it back to what we know. Okay, so you're focusing on the Lachlan Gold Belt region. Why? It can't just be based on neurology. What do you know about what you've got today? Or what incentivized you to say, well, actually, let's go here rather than somewhere else?
Well, it is based on neurology, and it absolutely is. The ground we have hasn't been explored before. It's basically virgin ground. Now, amazingly, the reason for that is probably because it's covered in about up to 30 meters thick in tertiary basalt. So in other words, there's no outcropping. Now usually discoveries are made generally by outcropping. So there is none on this strip, but they do say with neurology that the best place to find mineralization is in the shadow of somebody's head frame. I think a famous US president said that.
Not a geologist. So okay, okay. We're not here to talk about US presidents. Okay, so you've got this basalt 30 meters thick. So again, it comes back to the question. It's like, what intelligence, what knowledge do you have which says, do you know what? If we go beneath that, I think we could find something quite good. I mean, so why are you doing this where others haven't?
Well, it's been locked up for a while. For decades, it's been locked up. One of the reasons is that in New South Wales, the government gave landholders the upper hand until relatively recently. So now it's turned around, so miners and explorationists have technically the upper hand. I think that's one reason why no one's really explored this area before. This area being that same narrow strip in the Molong volcanic belt. The other reason is that, again, there's been no outcropping. We've been over the most of the land now, and there's no outcropping whatsoever. So that's been a bit of a deterrent for the majors. They're looking for lower hanging fruit, I believe. They're looking for quick, easy targets. They've all been snapped up. And the beauty about this for investors is that it hasn't been gone over. So that creates opportunity. And Krakatoa, ASX KTA, is not frightened to do some drilling and to puncture through that, that 30 meters of cover. And considering that it's potentially a porphyry system, that 30 meters of cover is very insignificant, given that last major discovery in that same belt, the discovery started at 300 meters below, and that was a 500 meter intercept. What also gives us, again, it is a bit of neurology, but where Krakatoa, ASX KTA, is located, it's right next to a resource of nearly 1.5 million tonnes, 1.47 million tonnes of, ounces of gold. We're right next door. And, we share the same, it's called Copper Hill, and we share the same Copper Hill, what's called igneous complex. And we've just made we made an announcement yesterday where we've pretty well proved that we share a great deal of that complex, and it's quite a major system. And this Copper Hill, by the looks of it, hasn't really properly been, there's plenty more to be found in Copper Hill as well.
Okay. It's just what I'm trying to get to is obviously with the exploration, the chance of success, like 1 out of 20, kind of make something of it. 19 out of 20 don't make it. So I want people to understand what they're getting into with you guys. So it's based on, what data, what intelligence, what analysis have you done, which gives you that confidence? Because you said to me, majors want low-hanging fruit. They've got a lot of money available. Juniors don't typically have a lot of money available, and that's why a lot of money gets wasted in juniors. But So I'm trying to get to, and I think we're starting to get an idea of what's giving you the confidence to go after this, to drill below that 30 meters. So, what are you planning this year? You've got about $1 million left of cash. Is that about right?
That was in our last announcement. Yes, so that was in our last quarterly. Quite right.
Okay.
There's likely to be a bit less now.
Right.
As time goes on, and we are aggressively exploring. Look. Another thing, what gives us confidence, we have done an aeromagnetic survey right at the top of our license. That's right at the north end, and then we followed up with the aeromag survey with a fixed wing aircraft over the entire license, and that's picked up a number of geophysical anomalies, which stand out quite remarkably. You can see that on our website. We've announced those anomalies, and just recently we thought, look, we'll have a bit of a sniff under the basalt just in the northern part of one of our targets. There's 6 targets on the license. We've run a aeromag over to look for anomalies, and we found them over the entire license. And then we've done a little bit of drilling right next to Copper Hill, which I just explained, again in the northern portion of the license in 1 out of 6 tenements. And that's unearthed some decent, what that's done is that's married up the geophysical anomalies with some geochemical anomalies.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we're trying to de-risk it and narrow it down to put in some deep diamond drill holes later in the year to get that discovery I mentioned earlier, if we can.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so right, I'm starting to build a picture up of the process that you're going through to do this. You've got some targets. Let's come back to that cash point. So last quarter, about $1 million. Obviously, a bit less than that because you've been spending money. So what's the plan for this year? Obviously, COVID-19 has impacted people's ability to move around. Maybe not so much in Western Australia. What are your plans for the rest of this year? Are you going to need to raise some more capital soon?
Well, our plans are to continue to try and de-risk the diamond, the deep diamond drilling as much as we can. But at the same time, we're hell bent on doing that. We would ideally like, in my mind, to do at least 3 deep diamond holes. Currently, right now, we've just finished a deep ground penetrating radar survey, which is looking for features and structures underneath the basalt. That may help us. We're just trying to tick boxes as to where we're going to target this deep drilling to bring home that discovery for investors.
Brilliant.
At the end of the year, if we can.
Are you going to need to raise some money?
Look, these diamond drill holes, typically you budget for about 200,000-ish, including probably the assays. So depending on how many we do, we may need to raise some money later on in the year, and on that we've never had any problems raising money in the past.
So that's a probably later this year to allow you to do the things you want to do, and nothing wrong with that. I'm just trying to get to the answers. Sure. Okay, so sure. You're what? I think you're about $8 million today, not 7. So that's good news. But you have got a lot of shares out, which is a sort of very common Aussie thing. Sitting with hundreds of, if not billions, of shares out. Your current shareholder base is made up of what? Is it friends and family? Is it retail? I mean, how does it break down?
Yes, well, just on that, there's actually not a lot of shares out there. There's 218 million. That's a fairly tight structure.
For Australia, it is. For most other places, no. But I think it's unique to Australia. I think is the point I'm trying to make to people watching this. Okay, so sure. Please, can you break down who are the main shareholders?
Yes, so the main shareholders, out of the top, say, I reckon 40, I think about, most of the shareholders I know in the top 100, there'd only be a handful that I don't know personally. Out of the top 20, the top 20 would make up about 40% of the registry. And it's fairly tight.
Okay.
We've Krakatoa's blessed with a pretty good following of investors.
And is
There's
that
no institutions on the registry at all. They're all, they're all mums and dads and high net worth individuals.
okay? And what about yourself? How many shares do you hold?
Last time I looked, my wife is, I think, the number 5 shareholder. So I've got some skin in the game, and I've got a few options expiring at 10 cents later on in the year. Currently, the share price is 3.5 cents. 3.6 was the close today.
Okay.
So
how many is that? If she's in the top 5?
I think it'd be about, nearly 4 million shares.
Brilliant. Okay. And I'm always interested in how sort of small changes, when they kind of start up, you're fairly entrepreneurial in attitude. You have to be, and you got to keep the cost low. So how do you structure? I mean, how many people are employed by the company?
We've got 3 directors. I'm the executive chairman.
Yeah.
We've got, I represent about 1,000 shareholders. We've got 1,000 shareholders in total. I've got a brilliant company secretary and fellow director, David Palumbo, that I've worked with for 10 years, doing bits and pieces. And we've got Tim Hogan, who's a very steady hand and has a lot of corporate experience. And we have a great team on the ground, led by Ian Cooper, who worked at Newcrest's Cadia operation, only 35 k's down the road, and he lives in Orange, where we're based. We're only the exploration site's only 20 kilometres outside Orange. To put it in perspective, the town of Orange has about 30,000 people in it, so it's got great infrastructure: water, power, rail, electricity, labour. It's a highly skilled workforce, particularly with Cadia, Australia's biggest and most lucrative gold mine in the vicinity. We're just, there's a few boxes one could probably tick here.
Yeah. And what's your track record, Colin? Tell me about what you've done in the past in terms of exploration.
Yeah, I started out mainly in commodity broking and in stock broking, and I had a boutique stockbroking outfit, boutique financial services brokers before, called CK Locke and Partners. Before I left there, I left and went to Indonesia. But before I left there, we had the best track record in Australia, and we published it on small cap stocks. So during my years doing small cap stocks, what brought me here is that I looked at these companies and thought, look, I can not only potentially do a better job, but I figure that I've got more say, and I've got more, I get more satisfaction on victories for investors if I'm actually at the helm of the company, rather than, advising, corporately to get in and out of other plays. I feel like I'm more at the helm here, and I get more satisfaction out of looking after sharebholders, or trying to create a discovery for shareholders.
Okay. And what's your relationship with? Okay, so who do you rely on to make decisions about the geology, what you should be going after, targeting, etc.?
Well, we rely on the field with the field work led by Ian Cooper, and we also rely on geophysicists. And
But you're the guys. You're the guys got to make the decisions, aren't you? So I'm just wondering what's the process you go through internally? Because as a junior, it's very close. It's a small team. How do those decisions get made? Because each decision costs money.
Well, that's right. And look, the main decisions where we are now is not on acquisition. It's on where we're going to stick these diamond drill holes to potentially make this discovery that I've been talking about. And again, should we be successful in this discovery? Let's not forget, just 65 k's up the road in the same belt, same rocks, exactly the same rocks. As far as I'm concerned, I've had a look at it, the same geophysics. When they made that hole, which was ALK, the symbol, that was 500 meters at 0.48 of a gram a ton. 500 meters at 0.48 from 200 meters, and that added 200 million to their market cap. And interestingly, there's an outfit next door if we look at neurology, they're called MAG. Last time I looked at them, they're right next door to that discovery I just made. Last time I looked, I don't think there was any drilling going on. And they had a market cap of $40 million Australian based on that neurology. And again, Krakatoa, ASX KTA's got a market cap of 8 mil, and it's right next to Copper Hill. And on the subject there of drill holes, now the Copper Hill that we're right next to, they've had one of their drill holes was 60 metres times 5.4 grams a tonne, which is actually a higher payload and shallower than that ALK's discovery that I just mentioned that put 200 mil to their market cap. They've got another hole right next door to us at Copper Hill, which was 55 metres at 5.7 grams a tonne. Again, that's a higher grade, or that's a higher mineral payload, gold-wise only. I'm not even going to mention the copper than that 200 mil discovery. So we've got two better holes right next door, and our market cap, or Krakatoa's market cap, is what, 7 million.
Okay, so what have you got to do this year to actually move from neurology thesis through to being able to inform the market with data which tells them about what you've got, not what's going on next door, but what you've got? What's your money going to be spent on delivering that message?
The money will be spent, if we can, on doing a series of deep diamond drill holes. Deep meaning we're looking at about 600 metres-ish. So straight through that tertiary basalt cover, and we're using geophysics, deep ground penetrating radar, and whatever we can to try and de-risk those holes and target them properly so we can again make that discovery.
Okay.
If we can, and that's what's going to bring the value, as you know, to shareholders.
Okay.
And the leverage, and this is a value proposition, you could argue.
Okay.
With such a low market cap.
So what? Okay. Well, look, I think you've got an interesting story. We will follow it and see what you're able to do this year. Obviously, tricky times for everyone, but it's a case of, I think, delivering what you say you're going to deliver, and obviously what comes out of the drill bit for this year. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much for sharing your story. Do stay in touch as things progress, because I know things move quite quickly in the junior exploration space, and come back and tell us more.
Thanks very much, Matt. It's been great. It's been a pleasure.